Welcome to Beyond the Cab, where heavy machinery meets real stories. I'm your host, Josh Williams, along with my co-host, Sean Evenden, and we got our business manager, Bill Feckety, in here with us today. How you guys doing?
Good. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. Today is Friday, June 5th, 2026. Morning after our union meeting last night. Yeah, we're already into June. 6 months into the year. We've been out of people on our referral list for what, 2 months of it so far? Yeah.
At least.
6 months into the year, and we got people that have made over $100,000 and over 1,000 hours.
Unbelievable. Yeah, data centers are the thing right now. Wind farms, you name it. We're busy. Things are great. All right, today, so I want to start off with talking about a little topic, and this is calling the hall. So everybody's heard of this term, calling the hall. Some people are get blamed. Well, who called the hall? Somebody called the hall.
Caller. You're
a hall caller.
Yep.
And some of the things we get from this is, and we appreciate, believe me, when somebody calls the hall, and really they're just calling one of us, but guys get blamed for that stuff, and it's kind of twofold. I hear operators say, well, I don't want to get in trouble, so I made sure I called the hall. But I kind of really want people to understand that it's not really just about you getting in trouble. It's about you doing the right thing and defending our work, because believe me, everybody wants to run the equipment, and we face it all the time where somebody's put in a bad situation where they see a laborer or superintendent or somebody hop on a piece of equipment and they're just going to run it for a minute or move it down the road. And we had a really good example of this, and we've got a first-year apprentice that was doing the right thing, and we want to talk about this. Sean, so you had a situation with a contractor where this just had, like last week you spent a lot of time with it.
Yep. What all started probably 3 weeks to a month ago is when the first problem came in, and exactly what you're talking about. First year apprentice calls because one of the laborers on site was trying to convince him that the job they're working on, there's 4 different sites to it that are all like within a couple blocks in the city, and the laborer was trying to tell the first year apprentice that they had permission from the hall, that it was okay for them. They had permission from us to drive the equipment from each job site to each job site.
So I know I didn't give anybody permission.
No, I didn't even ask anybody else, because clearly nobody gave them permission. And my thing was, what? So if there's an operator at the first job and there's an operator at the second job, why is there a laborer sending the piece of equipment, like handing it off to the next? Why wouldn't one of the operator at the first job or the operator at the second job just come get it, or the other one take it to him? Why is the laborer even involved?
Trying to help the company out.
Yeah, help the company out.
Yeah, help the company out, yeah.
Yeah, so I went out there. The apprentice, Gavin Christ, who he deserves some appreciation for, when he called, I went out, he got the name of the laborer, so I went out there, and he wasn't on that job. He was on a different job in the city. So I went over, to where he was, found him, walked up to the guy, had a conversation with him, explained how it was, and right away, I asked him, he's like, well, why would I, if it takes me 15 minutes to get the operator to come over and move that, why wouldn't I just hop in and do it? Like, you get paid by the hour? What is it? What do you care? Like, is this coming out of your pocket? Laid it out to him. He of course, he didn't understand it that way. So I even painted the picture like, what if DOL showed up on the job, got your name, you're in the equipment, now they pull the certified payroll and you're getting paid as a laborer. Well, now that the contractor gets dinged because they lied on their certified payroll. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation, shook his hand, thought it was handled from there because he was, whatever, but clearly it wasn't. And then Bill was involved. He called the owner of the company, thought we handled it then too, but it wasn't. And then, the retaliation comments and treating the kid like crap, came about with it.
You mean one of the comments about the speeding? That was a good one.
Yeah. So the first one was, this is just how we do things here. Sometimes you got to break the rules. Every time you call the hall, you're just hurting the company.
You're hurting the company. Yeah.
And then it was, did you speed on the way to work today? Well, I did, because I live an hour and 20 minutes away, so I was trying to get here as fast as I could. Okay, well, you broke the law. Maybe I should call the governor then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you guys both know, but for our listeners, frequently what we find is the owner of the company, even sometimes the superintendents on the jobs, they don't direct this to happen, but they don't do anything to prevent it.
Correct.
Until we bring it to their attention. And if you guys recall, probably a year ago, and Sean, I think you were involved in this one too, we had another issue on another job. And when it all shook out at the highest level of the company in their Monday morning foreman and superintendent's meeting, they made it very clear that the operating engineers run equipment, nobody
Yes.
else. Sometimes these things escalate to the point where that has to happen.
Yep.
I think the resolution the other day we brokered, we're going to give it some time to play out, but I think everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
And and I would offer my thanks to Gavin as well. He did a very good job for a very new guy.
And especially as a new guy, and he's got enough talent that he's worried he's going to get laid off. They're going to run him off, which whatever. There's plenty of work. We'll you know what I mean? Being an apprentice, he'll get sent out somewhere else. But they have, and that's what I told him the other day when after the meeting when we had a conversation with. I said, just keep doing what you're doing. I said their complaint is that you're almost tattletaling on them because they're not doing the right thing. But they have zero complaints about when you're in the equipment, running the equipment. They can't complain about your skills. So just keep doing what you're doing, and you won't have any issues. So
Right.
The other thing I think is important for our listeners to know too is as quickly as our membership is changing over to newer, younger people, so is that mid-level management for the contractors. And some of these people have never been exposed to our world. It's incidents like this will give them the opportunity to progress more towards what we're accustomed to with our best contractors, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of takeaways from that. This is, I would say, great for Gavin to do that. And the message that we get a lot is, the operators want to use us as like, I can't do that. Can't let you have that. My BA sees me. That's fine. Use that message all you want. Me personally, I'm not worried about getting in trouble because it's just not going to happen around me. So don't be afraid to call us, text us. We're not going to throw your name in there or throw you under the bus. We're just going to show up like we randomly would and figure it out. But if you're not an operator out there and you're listening, unions work best when everybody does their craft, their trade. They stick to your trade. Don't steal other people's work. Just do what you're there. If you're a laborer and you want to be an operator, great. Figure out how to get into the operators, but don't try and take their work, as we're not trying to take your work. And if you're an operator out there and you're running a shovel, you're doing something like that, the shovel is the same thing as a skid steer, as whatever else. That's their tool. We have our tools. Everybody use their own tools and get along. I know what happens
unless
in
you're
places.
cleaning your tracks.
Yeah, unless you're cleaning your tracks, right? Yeah, we do that. We still clean the tracks. But yeah, so that's great for Gavin. Don't be afraid to let us know, and we'll handle the situation. And if you're a good operator, you don't got to worry about it. If they want to lay you off because you're calling the hall. If I'm going to, personally, I don't want to work at a company that I have to constantly be looking around, worried about who's in the equipment besides the operators. So if you're a company out there and you're doing that and putting your operators in that position, it's not a good working environment. They can go somewhere else where it doesn't happen. And we have plenty of contractors that don't pull the crap like that, and it doesn't happen. So,
you've told me in the past, one of the owners of one of our contractors, you had brought it up to him. One of, labor's superintendent, foreman, whatever it was in a piece of equipment. And when you called him, he was upset about it because he looks at it as if they're in the equipment, then they're not doing what they should be doing.
Correct.
Why are you in? That's the operator's job. You have your own job. If you're in the equipment, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So
that's right. And everybody wants to run the equipment. We get it. It's a fun thing to do.
Nobody's over there fighting for the shovel.
We're operators because we want to run equipment. We get it. So do the other people. But that's you chose your trade. I chose mine. And if you want to do this one, come on over,
The other thing with that, Josh, is we also chose to take the training. We chose to put the time in to learn the craft.
Yep.
And now you've got someone who didn't, that's infringing on our right to that piece of equipment.
Yeah. Yep. And back to Sean's point about the prevailing rate, like if you're also doing that on a job that is prevailing rate, you're putting your contractor in a bad spot by jumping in that, because somewhere along the line, it'll get caught in certified payroll if you're in it and not being paid correctly.
With a willful violation, after two of them, you can't bid that work anymore.
Yeah, it can get bad for you.
Yeah. The other thing is the human component of it. If everyone does what they're supposed to do on a daily basis for an extended period of time, when the one-off comes up where there's just something happened today, right now, that mandates something unusual, nobody gets upset.
Right.
If you got 3 years worth of everything's been great and something arises, I don't even know what it would be.
Well,
something pops up that just mandates right now that we need some extra help that isn't here. We needed, for whatever reason, there's a trench caving in.
Let me tie this into one of their topics, showing up to work.
Yeah.
If you're not there, and the labor's in your piece of equipment, there's not much I can do about it because you were supposed to show up to a job this morning, you didn't show up, or you just left. The contractor is going to finish the work. They can't just stop work because you chose to not be there or not leave or not show up or whatever. That's a huge problem for us. If somebody commits to taking a job and simply doesn't show up or just isn't there, you put the union in a real bad spot. You put the contractor in a bad spot. But there's been plenty of times, Sean, Bill have all done this where we've gone out to a job and say, why is that labor in that piece of equipment? Because your operator's not here yet. Fair enough. Carry on, and we leave. What are we supposed to do?
What do you end the conversation? Because if it goes any further, you're just going to look even dumb. You
That's
know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
Well, and on the member side of it, this goes back to your original topic, calling the hall. If there's a legitimate reason and you're not going to be at the job, yes, absolutely let the contractor know. But if we know, we have the opportunity to replace you for the day.
Correct.
Right now, it's difficult, but there's times when it's not.
Right.
If we don't know, and you happen on a job at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you find out that the local 17 member didn't show up to run the machine, that opportunity is pretty well gone.
It is gone, yeah. And it's more about, or I should say it's more about, there's also the bigger picture. When you don't show up, that's 8 hours, if it's an 8-hour job, 8 hours of benefits that don't go into our funds. That's for everybody, the sub, the training, the pensions, the healthcare. Those monies go into pools that get invested, that we all draw out of, and you simply don't show up to work. That's 8 less hours that's in our funds that we get to use. So it's more about than just you missing the day and not getting paid for the day.
No, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah, it's much bigger than that. Yeah, it's important that you show up to work, or at least make the attempt to call us, let us know you're not going to be there, and we can get a replacement out there, which, right this time of year is tough, but we do the best we can to keep operators in the equipment and keep money coming in, keep the job moving. That's what we're here to do. But you guys got to make sure that you let us know if you're not going to be there, or do the best you can to be there. I don't. Years ago, it was never the term banging in or just not going to work today wasn't even an option. You went to work sick, you went to work drunk, whatever you had you just got to work. Flat tires, show up on a donut, whatever it may be. But I've had plenty of people say, I got a flat tire, and I go out and see them, and it's like all 4 tires look like they were yesterday. Where's the spare? Where's the, it's crazy, the excuses we have. We get it. Everybody has an issue. Something goes on, especially if you got kids. Like, we totally understand. We're not mad about it, but make the attempt to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a difference. You get a flat tire, you come out of your house in the morning, your tire's, flat on your car or your truck, whatever it is, when you're going to leave. Call somebody then.
Yes.
Don't wait till 7:30 and now you're trying to change a tire or wait for something to open or whatever it might be. Now you're calling. Well, you're already 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
You were getting ready to leave an hour and a half before that.
Right.
Let somebody know then and say, hey, like, I can't, I got to wait to get it plugged. I got to, whatever it might be. Let somebody know ahead of time. Don't wait till you're already late and then try to let them know.
Yep. And again, Sean, if you've been there every day, on time, ready to go to work, done your job well, and you have that flat tire, or God forbid you hit a deer, everyone understands. It's not a problem. Contractor will do their best to cover for you until you can get there. If you can't get there, we'll do our best to replace you.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Next topic, I want to talk about Brother Matt Waltos. Sent him out a few weeks ago to run a crane for Maxim, and he was under the impression he was going to run a crane, so was I. They had their operator with him late in the week or real close to him starting the job. We kind of got the inkling that they wanted him for just his license. And I had told the contractor, no, that's not gonna happen. Matt's fully capable of running the crane. He can do it. He's going to run a crane, or he's not going to come out there and let somebody run under his license. Back and forth, wasn't going to do it. Finally agreed to do it, but they wanted to check Matt out in the crane, which I fully agreed. That's just fine. You want to watch a guy run a crane before you let him go, that's cool. When we first started out there, they agreed to pay per diem, which everybody that's working on the wind farm for Barnhart is getting per diem. And it's just a perk of the job. So Matt was going to get that as well. Well, when they went out there, I sent an oiler with the crane, or with Matt. So now we have Matt run a crane, our apprentice engineer oiler, and their operator, which for some reason they wanted it with him, which he's a great guy out of 66, just doesn't have a New York State license. Well, turns out after week 1 went by, there's no per diem. Week 2, we're trying to hash this out, and communication's going away. He finds out through a message with somebody in the office that since they had to take an oiler, they weren't going to pay him per diem. So we weren't going to have any of that. So my only plan at that point was, I told Matt, listen, it's not contractual. I can't do anything about it. No grievance. If you don't want to be there, we'll just quit. We'll find you something else. Very talented crane operator, very talented operator and everything. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll give him another job. So he quit. And to credit to him, the 9:30 on Monday morning, I think he quit on Saturday afternoon. And on 9:30, 10 o'clock Monday morning, I'm getting a phone call from the guy. And, hey, I need a crane operator. Well, good for you. I don't have one. You a retiree? Nope. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. It's not my problem. I don't know. It's your crane. Well, how do I get the guy? What about the guy that just quit? Where'd he go? I don't know. But he took a different job. Not really sure. Well, can I get him back? Probably if you paid him the per diem that you promised him in the first place, you might have a shot at that. Why don't you try that? Well, I don't know if I can do that and do this and that. Well, okay, we'll figure it out. Let me know. Calls back, says, all right, I can get the per diem going forward. I said, okay, cool. What about the 3 weeks that you didn't pay him? Well, I can't get that. I don't know if he's going to come back or not. Well, you could find out. So I put them in contact with each other, and they ended up working it out. And Matt stayed strong and refused to come back to work unless he got his back pay. So he did, and he's back out on the job, and he got what he was promised to begin with. So kudos to him. Definition of an operating engineer right there. The graduate apprentice, run a crane, run whatever you need to do, and has the guts to stand up for himself. So proud of that dude.
Absolutely.
In another situation where the skills backed up.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If he was just a mediocre, like just barely getting the job done, they probably would have said, well, whatever, we'll cut.
550-ton Grove crane, no problem running the thing. Like, it's a 550. Like, okay, it picks things up and puts them down. What's the difference if it's a 150 or a 550? Like, right? Matt can run whatever. Don't matter what it is. So, yeah, kudos to him. That was cool. Next topic. So, I had an idea months ago about a crane rental house agreement. And for years, Benchley and Clark drove the negotiations and the building agreement. And if you really think about it, they don't really do building work. They're not like a Simonelli or who's another building?
Screwfire.
Like, they don't actually build buildings. They have a crane. They sometimes set an air conditioning unit. They sell towers. They're working on box culverts on there. So they're signed to the AGC and to the independent building, Benchley and Clark. And Bill, you know more than anybody in this room how difficult it was at times, because they wanted specific things to their business, but it was also people at the table that wanted things to their business, and they really aren't the same.
No, definitely not. You know, my first go around with the independent building agreement, we had Clark, Benchley, and Hull. Hull is a little bit more than a rental house. And then in addition to that, we had Simonelli at the time. And their asks, needs, and wants were completely different.
Right.
And it made the building agreement negotiations difficult. The negotiations after this crane rental house kind of took Clark and Benchley out of it were much easier this year. I think you would agree.
Right. Yep. So the intention of this is really, we've always had different rates for building and heavy highway, and it never really made sense to us, but we also weren't sitting on the other side of the table that running a 300-ton crane setting an air conditioning unit didn't pay the same as running a 300-ton crane setting a box culvert. It didn't seem fair to us. We've got the rates with the independent heavy highway and AGC are all lined up now. So our intention was to get building rates the same as every other contract is. So no matter what you're running, if it's a hoe, dozer, or a crane, you're going to get paid the same rate. And by getting Benchley and Clark into their own agreement, we achieved that. So now we've got the same rate and benefits across all three agreements. And then also Benchley and Clark are now into their own agreement, which just so happens the rates are the same there too. So everybody's getting the same rates in Local 17, no matter what you're doing, what kind of work or what you're running. If you're running whatever it is on whatever job, it's really all the same rate now. So that worked out really well.
It did.
Yeah.
And, some of that was the basis of the idea. Some of it was the professional manner in which all parties approached it. But at the end of the day, I also think it's the fact that the membership deserves a lot of credit because we've licensed, 15, 18, 20 crane operators in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And Clark and Benchley have employed almost every one of them.
Worked out well. The system's working.
Clark Rigging and Rental right now is taking more crane operators from Local 17 in the last 12 months than they probably have in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And why? We have them.
Because we have the crane operators.
And they can go do the job.
Yeah.
So
ties into the numbers we had, that were like, we got 9 crane operators working at Alley Cat from 17 and 3 from 158, and one's retired.
You look at Clark and Benchley, all the people that, not all, but the majority of the people that work there go back 3-4 years, and it's all the Oilers.
Yeah.
Now that they
oiled
it's it's crazy.
No,
crazy.
it's great. Yeah. So we had all those guys in a room the other night, and it was really cool to see Benchley and Clark operators all in the room together. They were picking on each other, talking crap back and forth. It was really cool. And unanimous
because they all
vote.
know each other because they went through the apprenticeship.
Everybody,
it's a cool thing.
So cool to see this thing now. I'm all working for competing crane companies, but yet everybody's on the same
bigger
page.
picture. They're part of it.
They're all
brothers.
100%. They're all making the same money, no matter what they're doing. Because just before this, Clark had Niagara Building, Independent Building, and AGC. You could have had 3 different pay rates. Well, close, right? They're on the building. They're really 3 different contracts.
The building agreements were essentially the
3
same.
different contracts, 2 different pay rates in the same week.
I mean, all 3 of us sitting here have all gotten phone calls from the payroll lady from Clark numerous times because she's pulling her hair out because he was on this job for a couple hours, this one, the next day, that one, and trying to figure out their paychecks is nuts.
Yeah.
And I mean, we picture Clark as Clark Rigging and Rental out of Lockport, New York, but Clark has a shop in Rochester. They have a shop in Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
You go back 7 years ago, at a minimum, you had Local 17 building and highway. You had Local 463 building and highway. You had 158 District 832 building and heavy highway.
Right.
And District 545 building and heavy highway. They had a dozen agreements to work on.
What a payroll nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
And, I'm not proposing anything today, but at some point what we did here may migrate east. And maybe we get, and I'm not going to, the contracts will line up, but I would call it parity.
Right.
Because honestly, on the west side of Route 98 in Genesee County, you set a box culvert with a 350-ton crane. On the other side, you do the same job. Is it worth more or less money?
Yeah, it shouldn't be, my opinion.
It's parity.
100%.
It's parity.
Yeah, it's parity. It's what it is. Yeah, so that worked out good. We're happy about that. Last week, we took a meeting with Mark Judd from Bidco. And, man, that was a really cool opportunity to go see the guy's business and what he does. Really cool story. I'm really trying to get him on the show here. He's a busy man, but I definitely want to get him on. But I don't have the numbers, but he's been in business for a while. Started by himself, on his own company.
He started in the late 90s. He signed with Local 17 in the early 2000s. I think he told us 2002 or 3. I feel like I set the meeting up because I feel like in recent years we've kind of overlooked Bidco. And the guy was cool enough. He was very honest and open. He says, it's some parts of the journey have been rockier than others.
Oh, sure.
But he's in a great spot right now. He's got $20-30 million worth of work this year. He thinks it could maybe even double next year. There's a lot of work coming, and I wanted you guys to get to know him as well as myself.
Yeah.
I don't know him that well, but and then I would love for him to do a podcast with you because he does some really cool stuff, and I think our members need to know more about Bidco.
100%.
Somebody said it the other day when we were out there, said we all know about this much about Bidco.
Yep.
And he's a legitimate contractor in Western New York.
100%.
It's pretty cool.
Very unique.
How did he put it? He almost had the business up on the rocks a couple times. That's how he
up on the rocks, like a seawall guy or ocean guy.
And he's up against challenges too. I'm sure he highlighted some to us, but at the end of the day, he needs quality manpower to perform these jobs and make his money.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love it if we could help with that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So yeah, we'll get him on the show.
We've already made a couple steps.
Yeah, we're trying. It's sometimes those face to face and actually see what we're looking at, like what kind of operation they have, makes a little difference when we're trying to basically get somebody to take this job. It isn't just, hey, I got a job and it's over here. Hey, I got a job and this is the type of work he's got. This is the type of his equipment he has. This is what he's done. That makes a difference to some people as far as like if they're going to take this job here or that job there. And
a lot of the stuff he was telling us, like, he gets these jobs and then it's almost like he dreams up this idea of something like like the drill thing that he had on that they had
for the sheet pile,
for the sheet drill, the anchors into it.
So cool.
Something they fabbed up in their shop and that's just working
great.
He's pretty innovative. The other thing that's kind of cool for somebody that's looking for steady employment, that's honestly his work isn't affected by weather like some of our other jobs are.
No, he'll wait right to the winter.
It can rain all day on the water. What's it going to hurt?
No, nothing. Yeah, might be a little tougher to work, but no, it's going to keep working.
When you're in the cab of the crane, you're not getting wet anyway. So
yeah,
good point. Wiper on.
Yeah, right. Turn it on high. Yeah.
As long as the heat works. Yeah. All right, so we'll get Mark in as soon as we can. I got a couple pipeline jobs. Actually, I have 5 pipeline jobs going on right now in the local, which is crazy. 2 of them are decent sized jobs, a couple miles to take up and relay. Got brother Eric DePalma out on one with Otis and Colden, and then Mike Motak is on one with Otis and Marilla. So those are kicking off just now. So if you're a pipeline hand and looking for work, give us a call. We got some work. Picnic, Sean. Everybody got some invites for picnic.
Yep, flyers. I just got mine 2 days ago in the mail.
Okay,
but yeah, so everybody should have got them. Evangola State Park, kind of a carnival themed thing for the
What's the date? July 17th.
17th. Yeah,
I think that's
I think so.
Yeah.
Third. I think it's the third Sunday in July.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, carnival theme. So we rented some games for the kids that were all like carnival themed, some prizes and whatnot. But chicken barbecue.
Yeah, it'd be good.
We're sending Sean to clown school.
Yeah. We're gonna get a dunk tank for you.
I don't think you're allowed to have a dunk tank.
Oh, that's right. We're not. We checked into that. Yeah, it'll be a good time though. Hopefully the weather holds out.
As long as I don't play kickball again, we're good.
Yeah, don't hurt you kickball. Yeah. Cost you a month. And I'm looking into, this isn't 100% yet, but it looks like it's going to happen, a motorcycle ride. We're going to leave from the union office in the morning and then do a little loop out there and pull into the picnic around noonish or so. So if you have a motorcycle, you're a member and you want to ride out there, we'll organize something to get that out.
So translation, Sean, Josh won't be there to help us.
Yeah, right. No, like he said at the union meeting last night. So we're going to go on a ride. We'll show up at the picnic around 6 o'clock just for it to be over.
Yeah, guys are going to want to ride all day. What picnic? Yeah. No. So we'll see how that goes. Rain. That's not going to be rain or shine. That'll be shine only if we do that. All right. Last night's union meeting was great. We had this Jonathan Robinson's last meeting. We're going to get him on the show. Pretty cool. That was a good meeting to be at. It was very nice. A lot of brotherly love in there for Jonathan. A lot of good information. So if you missed it, that's on you. But what's cool too with this is it caught up in the cycle with our temporary members, and we had 15 new members sworn in last night that came off the temp program. And it was really cool to see, because I'm looking across there and I'm like, this guy's working, that guy's working, and they're all working, they're all doing very well. And some of them were like, had been in the temp system for a couple of years just because they didn't get their classes done. Some were quicker, but some came in with hazmat certs. Some of these guys are, top notch. It was a really cool
guys. Some of them we've sent out to 3-4 different contractors and not a complaint from any one of them. And they just, the majority of them are at, the most of the union meetings, the picnic last year, functions. They're just,
they all took their training.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some of them took just about every class that we had.
Yeah, some of them Sean had to call and make sure they got their classes done or they weren't going to get sworn in. So good job doing that, Sean. But it's all benefit to the member, the training, and then benefit to the contractor to have these certs so they can go to work. And like you said, some of them have taken more and more. So good to see. That was cool.
And the majority of them are very appreciative. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is life-changing, because they came from the non-union.
It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
They get it,
Every one of them is told, that I've talked to was like, hey, how's things going? Are you being able to afford things all right? And we're like, oh, yeah, this is, great. So not just the money, but them being part of something, coming to the meetings, coming to the picnic, like they've got us to call, and it's pretty cool. So
Most of those guys we swore in last night have already seen this, but I ask you two guys to think back when you got your first pension statement,
yeah,
and then 4 or 5 years later you got one.
Yep.
And the difference was pretty dramatic.
yeah,
And you start thinking towards the future at that point. If I keep doing this, this is going to exponentially increase, and I'm going to have a really nice retirement.
and now more than ever with the CPF accrual rate going up and the hours going up, like your pension statement's going to grow even more and more now.
And everyone just recently got the funding notice from CPF. I mean, we've talked about this at a union meeting. We've talked about it here in the office. I think they painted their path going forward. It'll be a while before we see an accrual rate increase going forward. It's going to be retroactive for a while because for those of you who don't know, the trustees, the fund can't be overfunded by law, and no one wants it underfunded. So it's a balancing act. And when you increase the accrual rate on a go-forward basis, it's all based on predictions. When they do it retroactively, they have rock-solid information of what it costs the fund.
Yeah.
So I think they've kind of tipped their hand there. But with the funding levels where they're at, I would suspect we'll see another one of these retroactive increases in about a year.
What do you think that?
It's almost like a year-end bonus.
it
you know?
is, yeah.
It's rewarding. Yeah.
And
So-
it's also was kind of nice because if you remember the one they did that covered 23 to 25, that went from 1.75% to 2. This last one that covered from February 1st, 2025 through the January 31st, 2026 went to 2.25.
So what is that 0.5% worth for the average guy, you think?
It for the average local 17 operating engineer at our contribution rates, because
Right.
it's different depending on what your contribution rate is. For our members, it was somewhere, depending on the hours and overtime you work, but somewhere between $70 and $90 of extra benefit in that 1 year period of time.
And that's awesome.
It's
It's
fantastic.
just really cool to see that.
There's trades out there that don't get that on a credit for the whole year.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
we're getting it on
Extra.
top of
Yeah, things are really good right now with that.
You know, and we're sitting here talking about the central pension fund because that's the standard.
Correct.
That's where you want to be.
Right.
Our upstate pension is the envy of many trades.
100%.
And it has all the negative words we've talked about associated with critical, underfunded, unfunded liability. It's still the benefit earned through that pension is still the envy of many of the other trades out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that pension alone is just all right.
And it's getting better every day.
100%. Yeah. The funding level's coming up and the liability's going down. So it's a good thing all around.
The number of those individuals that were sworn in last night will have careers that will see the accrual rate in that one change. You and I probably won't.
Probably won't. Yeah, there were some young guys in there and some, mid 30s, 40s, whatever. But yeah, there was definitely enough young guys in there that'll see that.
A good mix.
Yeah.
There was some younger ones all the way up through.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, what's the update in the Bill Stadium?
Monday evening at 4:50,
June 1st.
June 1st, the Turner Construction received the temporary certificate of occupancy from the town,
Right.
and the project was mostly turned over to the Buffalo Bills organization. There's a new orientation for anyone going out there. It's my understanding that those actively working on the project did not have to reorientate, but their badges are being changed out if they haven't been already. And it's there's a ton of work left to do there.
Oh, yeah.
This was what they call substantial completion.
That's a moving target, though, right? Substantial can be whatever you want to call it.
Moving
Well,
target.
they have to hit certain benchmarks for the certificate of occupancy. You know,
Right.
the fire alarm systems have to work. The plumbing has to be up and running. I never did hear the details of how the super flush went.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Talking about
Last
that.
month, they were supposed to flush all 1,029 toilets at once to make sure the drains could handle it and that the toilets would refill. Apparently, there was no issue because we didn't hear about it.
No, we didn't hear about it. Yeah.
So, kudos to Turner. They picked this date 3 years ago and they hit it.
They did, yeah. Despite some setbacks and weather and some other stuff, they did it pretty good.
And absolutely a ton of credit to all the trades that worked out there. There's been windstorms, there's been snowstorms, there's been rainstorms. It's been some difficult working conditions at times. Stonebridge Steel, who did the bulk of the structural steel for the project, were super impressed with the workforce here in Western New York, that they work through those adverse conditions. I don't think they're accustomed to that down in the
They're
city.
not. Yeah, it's just wintertime for us, but for them, it's adverse.
And, also to their credit, after the first big snowstorm, they got better prepared. So when there was something coming, they would tarp off the steel on the ground. They had big tarps for the cranes to get up on top and move the snow onto the tarp and then hoist it off with the crane. So they learned a little too, but they were a phenomenal contractor to work with.
They were. Yeah, that was good.
So, like I said, there's a ton of work left to do. Union Concrete's, this has been a weird project for us because we're just now getting to the site package,
Right.
which for us is normally first. But they got a bunch of paving to do. There's still a bunch of concrete flat work to do. They've got all the ornamental stuff that needs to go in, but they're working out there pretty much every single day, 10 hours a day, in addition to all their other work. I'd be surprised if we're out of there before the first home game is played.
Gotcha.
We've still got 4 guys running elevators.
Right, and they're still working some big hours. At least they were anyway.
Yeah, they're 7 days a week, 80, 90 hours a week.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What's going on with the big pile?
They're starting to move some to the old stadium. Sean probably knows a little bit more about what they're doing when it gets there. I'm under the impression that they're stockpiling it. No,
It's going in the hole. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the end that they tore down. That's where what they used to build the ramp to get down in there, and they're starting to bring it up a little bit.
Tandems they take it, or these end dumps? Yeah.
Yep, tandems.
That's 175,000 yards, I think, goes to the old stadium of the 700 and some. We did have, there was an issue. Zolads was loading some material out of that pile for a project, and they were leaving the Southwestern Boulevard in absolutely deplorable condition. And Union Concrete actually went to bat for us. So, if we were doing this, you wouldn't have these issues. And I give Gary Hill credit for that one. He was all over it. So
That's
I don't think
materials.
it really changed anything for us, but
Right.
it was good to have him support us.
It was. It's going to that.
Zola dads.
Yeah. No. The.
Yeah,
what is that? Not the
Costco.
Thruway Plaza. What is that? What's going to be there? Costco.
Isn't that what somebody said?
Northtown Plaza, right?
No,
it's
this is
right
the one
off,
that's
right by Potter Road.
Yeah, Potter Road.
Oh,
What's that
okay.
called? Thruway Plaza? No. There's a big pile there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Right.
we were over there that day. Yeah,
Yeah, so
and it's
whatever-
again they're handling it 3 times then because they're literally making a stockpile. of them.
Stockpile. Yeah. Not really sure what they're going to do there, but yeah, that's
It's-
where that's going, or some of it's going anyway.
It's
Yeah.
still up in the air, but we may see some of it hauled here to our training center.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll take it if they're going to bring it over here. All right. How's the demo at the stadium going, Sean?
They're good ahead of schedule. I was over there earlier this week. Their lead operator there, Joe. He was supposed to be back in the city, but then now he's up here and they won't really let him go. So
Good.
but
That
they're-
means the problems will probably
the
hopefully
problems
stop.
will
there.
stay away. Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Yep.
don't have to yell at that guy at the building trades meeting anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's going good. They got the end tore down where the Jumbotron was, so the ramp built down in there, and they're leaving. They got the seats out, and they're just filling. Each one of the little step ups, they just fill that in lifts coming up. Boom, 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 boom.
So the concrete was staying?
right in there.
Is it really?
They're backfilling right up to it.
Oh, I wonder if the Bills or Erie County knows that. Okay.
I think
sure
it's
they
going
do.
to only to a certain spot,
Yeah,
and
then it'll come
then
out.
it'll
Yeah.
come out. But yeah, so then they're going to. I think they're just going to do it in lifts. They're using some of that pile. Then the concrete that's coming off is going to get processed, and that's going to go in because it's got to be 6-inch minus. That's
Did
all they're
Patriot and
responsible
Sons
for.
show up yet to crush?
They're not going to.
Oh, they're not going to crush it?
As of right now, that's what I was saying last night when I was over there the other day. That Joe was telling me that their munchers that they're using, to process the stuff. The concrete's coming off the steel in like perfect size pieces that they might not even bring the crushers
Wow.
in because it's just
That'll
it's
save
not-
them money.
Yeah, quite a bit of money too. Yeah,
Apparently, all the reports of the old stadium being in pretty bad shape are true.
it is.
Yeah, the concrete's
Yeah, old
really
concrete.
He said,
deteriorated.
that Joe he's tore down a lot of stuff. He says it's
Well,
Think about it. That concrete's over 50 years old.
And it sits out in the weather, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they put, whatever they put on it for home games when people are walking up there, so it melts the snow, whatever. So
How much beer you think's been spilled on that concrete?
Man. Yeah. If that concrete could tell stories, it'd be amazing. That's for sure. All right. The only other thing I got here is Sean, the golf tournament's coming back.
yeah, last time we did it was 2023. A lot of people asking, wanting to do it again. So we got it lined up for August 16th, Eden Valley Golf Course, 8 a.m. registration, 9 o'clock shotgun start, hot dogs and a drink at the turn, and then Widener's Chicken Barbecue around 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the dinner.
When you say we got that lined up, that's all you because you did the whole thing. So credit to you for doing that. Thanks, Sean, for the golf tournament.
But yeah, should be a good time. We got contractors sending in some donations, so we got
Good.
stuff. Have a couple different longest drives closest to the pin stuff, and
Cool. Yeah.
drink carts will be operated by operating engineers as well. So
No, you ever
that's a
claiming the
plus.
carts in that job?
Yeah,
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
That's good. Where's the Teamster? I'll be coming in.
No. We claimed it first.
Good deal. All right. And then coming up on July 7th, we got the Go Max race and Super Cruise at Lancaster Speedway. So come on out to that. It's on a Tuesday. Starts at 5 or so, 6 o'clock, whatever. Gates will be open at 3. But yeah, anything else, guys?
Bring your own car, whatever, right?
Yeah, car. Yeah,
show,
come out,
right?
watch some drag racing, car show. Be food trucks, beer trucks. It'll be a good time. I'll be pushing that out on social media as well. All right. Well, if that's it.
And anybody, we talked about calling the hall. A picture, a text message, they all work too. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If you don't want to call, you don't want to whatever, just, snap a picture of something that's not right or send a text and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, we'll handle it. All right. Appreciate you guys listening. Like, share, follow. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.